It's time for Expert Alert, your chance to ask questions and get answers from experts.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us once again on Expert Alert. That means it's Thursday morning. You're joining us on all of our streaming platforms. We're happy to have you. If you are joining us, this is a kind of a question and answer set up here for Expert Alert. So if you're joining us on our Facebook page, you will see it's a little bit of a delay, but you'll see the Expert Alert signal here or sign here. If you have questions for our expert, then just put them down here in the comments as they come through. I will ask the questions to our expert, and you will get your answers in real time. So, perfect. Today, we are joined once again by Jody Entrekin from Entrekin Insurance. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
So today, we've kind of been talking about, every week is a different, every month rather, is a different subject. Today, we're going to focus on auto insurance. And that, you told me, is likely because tax returns are coming, which is good time for down payments for new cars, people getting new cars. And listen, lots won't let you drive a car, companies, car dealerships won't let you drive a car off the lot anymore without insurance.
That is correct.
You got to get it before you can even be handed the keys. So tell us about what are just kind of, give us kind of a brief overview. We'll dive into types of coverage, but just a brief overview of why it's important to have auto insurance.
As we discussed in previous sessions, insurance in general, not just auto insurance, it's a transfer of risk. You know, so you just want to make sure that you have your investment protected. You know, and your vehicle is not your only investment. You are also an investment within yourself. So you just want to make sure that you have enough insurance coverage to protect you and pay for your losses as well as the losses of someone else. You know, so when it comes to your auto, people just need to put their thinking cap on. You know, remember, when it comes to insurance, just like everything else, they have packages. So when you're buying a new vehicle, you know, when you're on that car lot, you see two blue trucks, you know, just like these cups, side by side, they look identical. However, one blue truck that looks identical to this blue truck is $10,000 more or $15,000 more. Why is that? But they look the same. It's the same 1,500 or 2,500 vehicle, right? Those bells and whistles, the extras make it cost more. Your insurance policy is the same way. If you want more protection, you need to get higher numbers, okay? So the state minimum limits, one of the things that I like to say all the time, minimum coverage, okay, which is state minimum limits, which is called 25, 50, 25. That meets the legal requirement of law, but it does not meet the risk that you can undertake. You know, so it's very, very important for you, you know, to make sure that you have the proper coverage to protect whatever you have. Well, Chet, I don't know about you, but I couldn't care less about the truck I drive. What I care about the most is my wife who's in that seat beside me, or my children who might be behind me.
Sure.
I want to make sure that I have enough protection, you know, for them.
So let's dive into those coverages. So the first thing that we hear about, and this is typically what generally raises or lowers the price of your insurance, one of the factors, is comprehensive and collision. So let's talk about these different types of coverage and the deductibles associated. Okay. Let's start with comprehensive.
Okay, comprehensive coverage, you know, I don't know why a lot of people really find that confusing, but it's not. That's the just in case. Think about it like that. Collision is pretty self-explanatory. Your vehicle's moving, you collide with something, falls under the collision. Comprehensive is everything else. So what are some examples of that?
A meteor.
Yes. That's a great
Rare,
one.
but that could be a good one.
Absolutely.
Or lightning, things of that nature.
Flood.
Flood.
That's another one. You know, people don't think about flood, theft, fire. You know, all of those little things. You know, if you're in the house sleeping and you come outside and your window is smashed in, or what a lot of people call a snatch and grab, you're out shopping, right? Like, what do they say? Oh, put your purse in the trunk or hide it. Don't leave anything visible, right? If you come outside and the window is smashed, comprehensive. You know, come out and someone slashed your tires, comprehensive.
Well, around here we hit deer.
Yes, sir. Now, deer, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. You're driving down the road, little Bambi, boop, 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 jumps out in front of you, and you run into Bambi.
Well, is that considered collision?
No, sir. That's an act of God.
Gotcha. Okay. So
you can't help the fact that Bambi has a death wish, right? Can't help it.
Well played.
You know, so now, if Bambi jumps out in front of you, like this cup, and you swerve and you miss Bambi, so thank goodness Bambi's still alive, but now you hit this tree over here. What does that fall under?
I'm going to guess that is collision.
Yes, sir. That falls under collision coverage because the Department of Transportation states you must maintain control of your vehicle so that you can stop before you hit anything. So if you can't stop and you're driving too unsafe of a speed or road conditions, right, that you hit that tree, that's now collision at fault.
I had a situation when I was in college. There was a deer on the side of the road. I saw it. This is back out on like Sunflower before the new 67 was the
yes,
thing.
sir.
And I was going to Perk. And there was deer, a rather large deer, on the side of the road. I'm in a LeBaron. I don't have a good chance with a deer the size of this deer and the car. And it was off to the side of the road, so I literally pulled over into the other lane because it was on the kind of in the shoulder. And this deer just got out in front of me as I was in the other lane, and I hit it.
He was playing Frogger. That's what he was doing.
Exactly. I hit it, and then I hit a tree.
Mm-hmm.
So I was covered on both ends because I had comprehensive and collision. So I don't exactly remember how that ended up working out because I hit both. It moved into my view, and then I didn't hit the tree. I just kind of like grazed the side of it. Mm-hmm. But the car was totaled from hitting that deer. It was massive.
Yeah, that should have still fallen under, comprehensive because it's what's the force? The force is what was the ultimate cause.
Sure.
The ultimate cause was this deer over here wanted to play Frogger like the old school video game, right? And jump out in front of you. Well, you're already doing your due diligence to try to avoid him. Because Frogger played out, you hit the deer and the tree, still falls under comprehensive. So you had asked about deductibles. A deductible, easy way I explain it to people, is absolutely not what they want to hear. Your deductible is the amount of money that you are willing to pay in the event of a claim. Well, truth of the matter is I have insurance. I really don't want to have to pay anything. You don't want my insurance policy to pay it. Well, you can have low deductibles.
You can have a $0 deductible.
That's correct. Some carriers will allow that. Some will have lower deductibles because they want you to have some kind of skin in the game.
Sure.
Right? If you have some kind of skin in the game, you're less likely to do something, right? But that deductible, again, is how much money are you willing to pay? So if there's let's just say a $10,000 claim, right? And your deductible is $1,000, they pay $9,000 to whoever did the repair. You pay the remaining $1,000. If it's $500, it's the same thing. I personally like to tell my clients get low deductibles because it's only important when you need it.
Sure.
The cost savings that you save, some of them say, oh, I want higher deductibles. I need to save as much money as I can. Well, if I move you from a $500 deductible to a $1,000 deductible, over the course of 6 months, on average, you might save $20. It's really highball it and say $50. Sure. How long you have to have that before you equate to $1,000?
A good bit.
A good long time. So a lot of times it doesn't warrant the savings to take a higher risk.
Yeah, that's. I think mine is $250.
$250 is a good one. See, you can have split deductibles. You can have a lower deductible for your comprehensive than on your collision.
That's gonna. And what will end up happening is that I'll end up having to file collision because I had a lower That's just Murphy's Law for me. So when do you not need comprehensive or collision? Is there a time for that?
I think you always really need it. But it comes down to you. What kind of risk are you willing to take? So if you remove comprehensive and collision, just think about if the cost of the policy is more than the value of the vehicle. Now, at the same time, it's not just always the value of the vehicle. It's what kind of risk factors are they after. So if you do not have collision, right, and you get hurt, are they going to pay you? No, sir. You get nothing. But you might have saved $50 because this vehicle is not valuable. Well, how much are your medical bills now?
Yeah.
So people think all the time, oh, I have medical insurance. Well, why do you think when you go to the hospital, they ask you, Chet, how did you get injured? Oh, I got into a car accident. Oh, let me get this other form here. Why do you think they do that? Your health insurance has the right to say, we're covering the health insurance of Chet, not the health because of this accident. So they can now turn around and subrogate or sue against your auto insurance carrier. So we just need to make sure that there's enough coverage there. And you'd be surprised when you jump from state minimum 25, 50, 25 coverage to higher limits, it's not nearly as much of a price increase as people may think. So it's all a risk factor.
My thing is this, I will do my due diligence to budget. I know that I can't stand paying my insurance every month. I hate it. It's my least favorite thing to pay for because I've been in so few accidents. There have been so few occasions where I actually need it. But the one time that I did, about 3 years ago, it literally took care of everything.
Yes, sir.
I even got a check because just the pure inconvenience of it all, which was
thing,
shocking to me. But my point is, I know that it's for me, it's significantly better than the alternative. I'm just going to hope that I don't need it, but I'm going to make sure it's there if I do.
That's correct.
And I just feel like that's just a mindset that I had to put myself into when it was time to figure in, now I have children and I need to care for. There's so many other things that are, involved in my life than having to worry about, am I budgeting for this? I'll just stop drinking so much Starbucks or don't go out to eat. You just have to make it work. You just have to make it work. Uninsured, underinsured.
Okay, so uninsured and underinsured, let me say this again. Approximately 30% of the people on the road today here in Mississippi do not have insurance. That is exactly what this uninsured motorist coverage is for. If you're driving down the road and someone hits you and they do not have insurance, if you have coverage for uninsured motorist, now your policy will pay for the repairs and medical bills for you, okay? Because you have it on your policy. Because they don't have insurance, they will pay it. Now let's talk about underinsured. Let's say that the person who hits you has a state minimum 25, 50, 25, but that's not enough coverage for your vehicle. Okay, in Mississippi, we have stackable coverages. So now that uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage will pay the difference, okay, for the repairs of your vehicle and then your medical bills and your liability coverage. So it stacks on top of one another. But if you do not have that, you have nothing.
That was my case a few years ago. It was the person I hit had no insurance.
Yep.
It was a brand new car, but didn't buy it from a lot that forced them to have it, and they were in some kind of gray area. Regardless, they didn't have it.
That's correct.
And so I had uninsured and underinsured. So I was.
Which is why auto insurance is more expensive here in Mississippi, because we have so many uninsured drivers. Now let's just say you cross the state line, you go to Alabama. They don't have the option to purchase it. They do not, because their state law states you have to have it anyway. So whenever they purchase it, it's part of the policy. It's not an additional cost. It's already wrapped into it.
Right.
Here, because everybody despises insurance already so much, they don't want to pay anymore, right? Well, they'll go and they'll pay all this money for this fancy dinner. 48 hours is done and over with, right? No longer in their system. Their auto insurance is with them for at least 6 months. Their family's with them for years. Let's just one less trip to Starbucks, or a less trip to McDonald's that week. Whatever it may be. It's tough, but we can all cut our corners. You're a dad, I'm a dad. We've all had to cut corners to pay the bills sometimes. We can make it work. We just have to do it.
So if you're in an accident and all your frame's bent, vehicle's totaled, they can't do anything about it, what happens here?
A lot of things happen. Number one, someone is not going to come out there. Now if it's a newer vehicle, it's a little bit different, and it's also going to depend on your policy coverage. But you're going to be paid out on what's called actual cash value. It's what the vehicle is worth, not what it would cost to replace it. So let's just say that we have a 2010 Dodge pickup truck, and you get into a total loss, and now you say, hey, look, I want to get a 2026 Dodge pickup truck. It's not going to pay for that. It's going to pay for whatever the value of this was. And that's something that a lot of people need to understand, to where I had a phone call just yesterday. Someone couldn't understand that, and that was their exact question. Well, what do you mean? I didn't have to go buy a new vehicle, now I have to. Why won't they buy this new vehicle? It's actual cash value. You're going to get the value of it. If you go to sell something and you have a yard sale, are you going to sell it for what you paid for it?
Right.
It's the same concept. One of the things I want to say, and I tell people all the time, is Man, when your insurance stops, and what I mean by that is when your coverage stops, when you've reached the maximum coverage amount, that's where your wallet starts. So where do you want your wallet to start? I'd rather mine not have to start.
I'd rather just it be left alone. And then, of course, you have to take into consideration maybe gap coverage.
Yes.
That's a big thing, too, that you got to focus on. I had a Jeep Gladiator. I didn't have to worry about it because they held value. They paid it off, and I got a check.
Yep.
But it's a different situation depending on the kind of vehicle you have. You may owe more than the car is worth. Now you're on the hook for what they don't pay.
Yes, sir. You can also get that on your insurance policy really cheap.
Yeah.
It is amazing how cheap, the gap insurance coverage is. Most carriers call it loan lease payoff. It's very cheap. It's not expensive. That's money that you don't have to pay, because it'll come back and bite you on the back end. Just remember, your cheapest insurance policy can be the one that costs you the most money in the long run. So it's not always just about the cheapest. We want to look at what's the best.
Well, listen, it is that time of year. Tax returns are coming. And if you're in the market for a new car, you're going to have insurance, especially if you buy it from a dealership before you drive it off the lot. You really wouldn't want to. You'd hate to drive it off the lot. Somebody hits you and now you don't have insurance. So give Jody a call, Entrekin Insurance. You see that number 228-460-0574 or EntrekinINS.com. Give them a call. It doesn't hurt. Phone calls are free. Consultation, get in there, get your questions answered and find a policy that fits you and your needs and gets you covered so you don't have to have a CYA moment, right?
That is correct.
Jody, thanks for being here. Listen, we will see you right back here. I don't know that we're here next week, but we're here. We'll see you. I'm here for my producer. We will be right back here next Thursday for Expert Alert. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining us for Expert Alert. We'll feature more experts at the same time next Thursday.